Move on to the college basketball world. The Tar Heels, both of us Tar Heel students, always try and put up a UNC segment once a week. So the biggest news recently has been in the transfer world. UNC not normally known for taking transfers. Last year they did get Cam Johnson, but that's a rare occasion. So Sacha Killeya-Jones, who's actually from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, a five-star prospect, was number 23 in the country going into college, played 2 seasons at Kentucky, only averaged 2.7 points per game and 3.3 points per game in his 2 seasons. He is now transferring, and UNC is on his list. Should UNC pursue Killeya-Jones?
I mean, no disrespect to Killeya-Jones, but if you're only averaging 3 points on an already pretty dismal Kentucky team, even though they performed well in the playoffs, they should have gone to the Final Four. They had the easiest track to the Final Four I've ever seen. And the only person that was in their way was an 11 seed. They didn't even lose to the 11 seed. They lost to Kansas State, who didn't even have their top scorer. I think, no disrespect to him, but I don't think we should waste our time because we have the 2019 recruitment class. We see all the top 5, James Wiseman, Vernon Casey, these guys. All top 5 of them are centers or power forwards. We need to look to the future and look at those guys. Because if Carolina wants to contend for another championship, we need a powerful post presence. And I don't know if Killeya-Jones is the answer to our post issues.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. I think North Carolina definitely needs a post presence, and that's why they should go after Killeya-Jones. He's 6'10", 220 pounds. He was a 5-star recruit at some point, so the talent doesn't just disappear. The talent is always there. It's just, and whatever the reason, it is a little worrisome that he only averaged about 3 points a game and 3 rebounds this year and only played just under 14 minutes. But there is a lot of talent with John Calipari. There's always been a lot of talent with Kentucky. So I think UNC should take the chance on him. He won't play next year, so he wouldn't be available in 2019. But ideally, you'd get him for 2019, and you would get him for 2020. I mean, you can look on the roster. There's not a big man that's going to be as talented as Killeya-Jones. Luke May is our most talented big man. He couldn't jump over a penny. I mean, the guy just sits out and he shoots. Luke May is not an athletic guy. He struggled against Marvin Bagley.
Anytime Luke May would go up against a dominant or a top-tier big man, he would struggle. And we saw he did really well against teams that were less dominant in the front court. But I think the fact that if we tried to pursue him, how many people do we have on the roster that are big? We have Garrison. We have Sterling Manley. We have
a lot of freshmen. We have Brooks, Manley. We have Walker Miller. So there's a lot of freshmen who are 6'10" and above, but they've all been inconsistent.
But do we? All right. But do
and there's Brandon Huffman as well, but yeah, I don't think he'll be a factor.
Focus more, since we're not even going to get him this year, we might as well just focus more on recruiting hard in this 2019 draft recruitment class with a lot of talent in the front court. All the top 5 players are power forwards or centers. I think Carolina needs to look to those guys. We need to focus on that area. Killeya-Jones has had the opportunity. It's not like he didn't get any play time. This past season, he averaged 14 minutes a game, and he only produced 3 points a game. I mean, he wasn't the top offensive option.
You say get other prospects, but we haven't been able to get any prospects because of the investigation. I mean, the top 5 prospects, none of them are going to UNC. Barrett. I mean, we lost out on Zion Williamson to Duke. Right, we've lost out on so many top.
Losing out on Zion. See, Zion's not versatile.
We lost out on E.J. Montgomery to Kentucky. I mean, we've constantly lost out on the top prospects. Whatever the reason is, that's just the fact. We haven't been able to get top prospects. We have one now who's a former 5-star recruit. Whatever the reason, he didn't play well at Kentucky. He might come here and he might give us 3 points a game, or he might come here with a year off. He can bulk up. And maybe he'll average 12 and 10. It's not like Roy Williams has, not been able to use big man. Our best teams have been when we've had big man with Kennedy Meeks, Zeller, whoever.
Well, I mean, Roy recruiting has never been at the forefront of Carolina's mindset because Roy recruits according to who's going to fit his system, and I think but I don't know how Killeya-Jones would fit in the system because Roy likes to have that big muscular guy down in the paint.
Yeah, but also
Killeya-Jones isn't that big. He's a very slight 6'10". He's only 220.
Yeah, but I mean, he would have a year off though to bulk up.
He will have a year off.
I mean, he found out a way to make Bryce Johnson work. Isaiah Hicks. I mean, there's always John Henson. There's always been tall guys that have worked. There's been the more bulky guy, but I feel like in general, the tall, lanky guy has worked for UNC. I think there's Brandon Wright over a decade ago. I mean, there's a lot of guys.
Was big.
Yeah, he's Killeya-Jones, 6'10",
but
220's little risky, but
swipes,
I mean, John Henson was probably 6'10", 185 when he came in.
I'm looking here.
Bryce Johnson. Bryce Johnson was not 220
Jr.,
pounds.
Center, 6'10", 259. I'm looking at
and
these
do we
guys
really
here.
have a chance? I mean, look, there's James Wiseman. I mean, but Roy should know. I mean, look, Wiseman, UNC, near the bottom of the list. He's not going to go to UNC. The top recruits, they haven't come to North Carolina. So when we have an opportunity to take a 5-star, we should take advantage of that. And we've also seen a lot of players play greater than what they are when they come to North Carolina. Joel Berry shouldn't have been as good as he is. Justin Jackson shouldn't have been. Kennedy Meeks. I mean, a lot of these guys, even I think Theo was a little poor to begin with in his career, but this past senior year, he really played better than anyone could have imagined.
I think if we do go for Killeya-Jones, I have no doubt that Roy's going to find a way to fit them into the system. But so I mean, if we can get after him, I think, you know what, we might as well take a risk. But we should focus on trying to get some of these recruits in this 2019 recruiting class.
Okay, let's move from the college basketball world